Well, welcome everybody to the 2016 Peanut Tour. This Georgia Peanut Tour is celebrating 30 years of success in showcasing Georgia peanuts. Georgia is the home of some of the finest peanut farmers in the world and to some of the finest peanuts in the world, because here in Georgia we're fortunate to have the perfect climate, adequate rainfall, usually, and soil conditions that are just right for growing peanuts. And for the past 30 years, this Georgia Peanut Tour showcases a cross-section of field conditions, harvest clinics, product research, peanut handling and grading, equipment manufacturing, and most important, on-farm demonstrations. Quality is the watchword, with Georgia peanut growers ever striving to make the best peanuts in the world even better.
I have to give credit to Dr. Gene Sullivan, Extension Peanut Agronomist, my counterpart at North Carolina State University, for actually triggering the idea of the Georgia Peanut Tour. And the reason I say that is back in the early spring of 1987, a large group of the peanut industry was at a meeting out in Arizona. And in one of the sessions, Dr. Sullivan was up giving a talk, and he was just going on and on and on about how great North Carolina peanuts were. Well, after that session ended, Dr. Alex Casinas, a plant pathologist with the University of Georgia, and Emmy Murphy with the Georgia Peanut Commission, and I, the three of us were standing in the hall, and Emmy made some comment, "I wish we had equal time to talk about the quality of Georgia peanuts." He had the entire audience listening to him talk about North Carolina peanuts. Well, Dr. Casinas had been involved in the Georgia Tobacco Tour. And he said, well, why don't we do a peanut tour like we do a tobacco tour? Now, the Georgia Tobacco Tour for years had focused on the producers, going around looking at the tobacco research. But as Dr. Casinas, Emmy Murphy, and I stood around in the hallway of that hotel in Tucson, Arizona, we came up with the idea, let's focus on inviting those that buy the peanuts, the processors. Let's get them into Georgia to see, because they're the ones that are buying it. So the first tour that was in 1987, September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of 1987, our intended audience was not producers, not county agents, but was manufacturers. And of course, as the years progressed, it has grown to include individuals from all segments of the peanut industry, from the producers up through the manufacturers and end users and governmental officials and so forth. But again, really our total focus is that end user before it is made into a product.
The Georgia Peanut Tour was conducted this year in Plains and Sylvester and also in Smithville. Emory Murphy's with the Georgia Peanut Commission. The purpose of the tour, I guess, is to give those who participated a look at the industry right now.
That's right. We originally offered this to the manufacturers because we wanted to show them the industry just prior to harvest, and with the uncertainty we had in the crop last year. And we also wanted to show them the cutting edge of research, so to speak, on what we have in quality. Quality is the byword in the peanut industry that we're seeing. It's the theme throughout the industry that we do have the best quality peanuts in the world is right here in Georgia. And so we invited the manufacturers. We had other interest was shown within the industry, so we opened it up to all segments of the industry. The researchers, the handlers, the shellers, the brokers, and growers are here participating on this tour. We're going to have an adequate crop, but some of the unofficial reports are not sure it's going to be 3,200 pounds per acre statewide.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think we're going with all this technology?
Well, I think that what we're doing is trying to keep everybody in a profitable zone. Technology, I think, hopefully will continue to improve every year, but with our ability to look at new technology every year at this location and transfer it, I think that we'll try and keep people profitable, and that's the main business. Of course, the bottom line is to keep peanuts in the hands of the consumer, and if we can keep the price of peanuts down to a reasonable price, then consumers can have more peanuts.
Yeah, and you've done your job.
We're trying to. We sure are trying.